decided to do other things. I had not practiced my transitions. Yeah, I wasn't quite prepared for this.
So this is basically where we left off last time. So my bike was broken and I was supposed to race the 70.3 Warsaw a week later, but I soon realized that that was going to be impossible. So instead of going to Warsaw, I got asked to do the super sprint mixed relay in the Finnish national championships with my club team. And it's been a while since I've raced with my road bike, and I had definitely not practiced my transitions or anything. So it was going to be a fun challenge to try something totally different. So I had to do the first leg of the relay, which I was really nervous about because I messed up the start in my previous races. So I made sure to start really hard and totally fade, but it was worth it, and I was actually happy with my swim and happy with the start because I was so nervous that I would get dropped immediately. But instead I got dropped later, which was definitely better than right away. So we finished second place in the national championship and had a lot of fun.
Then after that, I wanted to do the time trial national championship, so cycling time trial national championship, and I got to borrow my teammate's bike for that. And I literally just practiced on that bike a couple times during that week. And I went into the race without any expectations besides that I just wanted to ride hard and see what happens.
What photo you take when I will bike when you
And it was really cool to be in a cycling race, but obviously I still did kind of my normal triathlon training the week of the race and the day of the race and the day before the race and all that. And I totally surprised myself by getting second place in the elite women's individual time trial behind an Olympian. So this girl is a real deal, and she went to the Paris Olympics in road cycling and time trial. And our halfway split was pretty similar, so I was the first rider to start because I didn't have any ranking, so they just put me first. And this girl was the last one, and she is a professional cyclist. And I was excited that I got kind of close, so I ended up finishing 39 seconds behind her, but at the halfway mark we had similar times, so that was kind of cool. And I was really excited about getting a silver medal in the national championship.
Because I didn't race in Warsaw, I had entered in Ironman 70.3 West Friesland, but my bike was still broken, so I couldn't go to that race either. So I had to stay at home and keep training with my road bike. Getting the replacement part for my Cadex seemed to be like a real pain in the butt, but I just tried to stay positive. But because I didn't do these two races, I missed my opportunity to qualify for the 70.3 World Championships this year. On June 27, I finally got my bike back and I could do the Ironman 74 Jönköping European Championship. Unfortunately, it became a logistical nightmare to get there, and that meant that I would have needed to travel alone without Robert. I never go to races without Robert, and that's for many reasons, but one of them is that I just don't know what to do with bikes. I'm terrible at working on my bike. I can't literally pump my tires properly, so I was nervous what was going to happen if he didn't go with me. And also I had to find someone to travel with because it seemed like getting to Jönköping was really difficult, especially when making last minute plans.
That was spicy. So it is finally race week again. So I'm racing this Sunday in Jönköping, Sweden, the Ironman 70.3 European Championship. And yeah, it's been quite a different build for this one. So I didn't get my time trial bike back until last Friday. So literally a month without my race bike. But to be honest, I got to do some other fun things while waiting for my bike to get fixed. So I did a time trial national championship race and the super sprint national championship relay, and those were really fun and different events. But now I'm really looking forward to this Sunday and another middle distance race. Feeling good, feeling excited. So the session was basically a 50-minute warm-up with some pickups or sprints, and then 20 minutes aerobic running, and then switched to race shoes, the Hoka Rocket X2, and then I did 2 laps or like 2 rounds of 5-minute blocks where I did 30 seconds aerobic, 20 seconds threshold, 10 seconds hard, and that like 5 times around, and 2 minutes between the sets, 2 minutes easy running between the sets. And I average around 3:30 per kilometer for each 5-minute block, so quite good, I think. Definitely better than I expected because I felt pretty horrendous during the warm-up, so my expectations were very low, so it went much better than I anticipated, and I'm really happy about that.
So for some reason it seems like all Finnish people are obsessed with the ferry trip to Estonia or Sweden, and I just absolutely hate them. So I am just not a typical Finn. I don't like being on the ferry, but this ferry actually wasn't that bad because they had a gym where I could do my run. We also bought lounge passes where we could just take naps, and also had a fantastic breakfast. So honestly, it wasn't that bad, I have to say, but I still don't like the ferry trips, and I would have preferred flying because it took us 20 hours to get from Finland to Jönköping, and that was just a ridiculous time of travel to go to Sweden.
Okay, so this is a quick race recap. I raced the Ironman 70.3 European Championship race today in Jönköping, Sweden, and I had a very bad day. I had my first ever bike mechanical today, and it's funny because a lot of people ask me this week what am I having with me in case I get a flat tire or something, and I basically said nothing because I don't bring anything for the races. I don't have a CO tube or a pump or anything, because I can't change a flat tire, which is embarrassing to admit, but that's just how it is. So why would I bring anything? Because I couldn't use it. So like I was like basically saying that I have nothing, because if that happened, it would be game over to me. So just a quick race recap until the bad thing happened. So my swim was pretty average. It's just not good, and I think it's just work in progress. I think it was a little bit better than in my previous races, and this was my first full swim, because my previous 2 races had shortened swims, but it's still not there, but I think a step forward. And I was swimming with a bunch of girls. I was pulling a group behind me because I got dropped by the group in front of me, so I was pulling the group behind me, which was kind of annoying. But then also this race had a 500-meter run to the transition where you could run with shoes. So I decided to put my shoes on after coming out of the water, which was a mistake because the other girls just dropped me there, but I kind of ran back, but yeah, I lost some time there. But then I got on my bike. So I hopped on my bike and pedaled like 20 meters until I realized that my disc wheel was flat, or like there was no air in the disc wheel. Luckily this happened kind of at the exit of T1, so I just turned around and then I pedaled back in, and I was basically just screaming for a pump. And first no one had a pump, but then suddenly someone ran and had a pump, or someone came with a pump. And the problem was that they didn't have the adapter that you need for pumping up the disc wheel. So then I'm just trying to find that, and obviously no one has that. So they had to call the bike mechanics that were somewhere on the course already and ask them to come back to help me. And that took like 15 minutes almost. And I'm just like screaming and crying there, basically, like just like I don't know what to do. First off, like when I realized that I had flat, I was like cursing so hard in Finnish that everybody probably knows now, a famous curse word in Finnish. But yeah, so then they finally came, and there was this really nice man. I actually don't know if he was probably some volunteer. I'm not quite sure, but he was so nice, and he was holding up my bike and telling me to eat and drink. And just like calm down, like you're gonna be okay, like. And then he was like, oh yeah, you should like definitely ride still. And also like the other volunteers around were just like encouraging me to ride, basically like just to have a training day. They're like, just go out and have a training day, like you can still have a good day. And I was like, fine, like since you guys are so nice, like I'm just gonna go. So I decided to ride, but I think all that just kind of like took a toll on me, and I just didn't have the legs anymore to push hard, and it was just kind of like demoralizing to start riding like 15 minutes behind everyone, like 15 minutes behind the second to last person. So I just rode, but it just literally felt like a casual ride. I couldn't push the power that I wanted to push. And then I almost dropped my chain once, which was another thing. And then I also noticed later that the tape that was covering the hole in the disc wheel came off, and it was like rubbing between the frame and the wheel, and then it just suddenly came off completely. And then later when I went to pick up my bike from transition, I noticed that one of the rubber bands had got twisted between the crank. So I don't know, that was probably a nice amount of watts lost there. But yeah, so I've had a little running niggle, or I don't know if it's a running niggle, but I've had a little niggle this past few weeks. So my back has been bothering me a little bit. So that kind of was stressing me out a little bit the day before the race, a couple of days before the race. And also the fact that I was here totally by myself without Robert, and kind of like having to deal with everything, all the pre-race stuff, working on my bike. I'm totally like as you probably know by now, I'm totally clueless. I don't know anything about bikes and how to work on a bike. So it was definitely stressful. So on the bike, my back was bothering me a little bit, and I was kind of thinking that I might not do the run because it's been bothering me. So maybe doing the run might actually like set it back more. So I thought I would just stay at T2, but then obviously like I got there and I just like decided, okay, I'm just gonna put like my shoes on and see what happens. And I started pretty slow, but since the back actually felt okay, I kept running and I kind of started increasing my pace, but it was still kind of like a comfort zone run. Like I couldn't push as hard as I would have liked to, and I never felt like I was outside of the comfort zone. I was just literally like just doing a run, and it was like kind of disappointing because I don't know, like when you're in a race you want to like feel like you're actually racing, but that was kind of like I'm just like completing this run. But lucky for me, I picked up a couple positions there. I thought I was gonna be dead last, but I wasn't, so I guess that was still like worthwhile finishing the race. And I also think that like we often think that being a professional athlete is all about like earning prize money, like sponsorships, like things like that. But I also think that it's kind of like setting an example of like just like you still keep going, like even when things are not going your way, like even if you are dead last or you're not having a great day, you're still like kind of in kind of a leadership position where you're just like showing that you just have to kind of embrace the suck and just like do what you can in the moment, and just kind of like, I don't know, keep on keeping on. And I think that's kind of what I wanted to display with my performance today, that I was like, I had no hope in the race anymore. I came here with the goal of finishing in top 10, and suddenly I was like dead last and 15 minutes behind the second to last. So there was no way I was gonna finish in a good position anymore. But I still think that finishing the race was valuable. I got a good training day. I also think that I would have been way more sad about a DNF than finishing in 12th place today. So I think I made the right choice, even though my performance was not exactly what I was hoping for. So I hope that this was like this was displaying my character, and also like maybe inspiring other people that DNFing is not like a good habit. It's not like a good thing to do unless you're actually hurting or something bad happens. If you're just having a bad day, I think it's not like encouraged. But yeah, so I don't know, it's kind of frustrating after such a good couple races that I've had lately. But I think because of having some better times, I can kind of move on from this a lot faster. And also, yeah, another race without cramping, so I'm really stoked about that. The next thing I think is possibly challenge Turku in 3 weeks. It's kind of still to be determined, and also I want to make sure my back is okay before that. But now, yeah, packing up, leaving really early tomorrow morning to go back home. I'm excited to go back home, and I guess the lesson learned from this trip is that I need to learn how to do at least the basic bike maintenance and like changing flat tires and stuff. And also I need to bring CO2 or a little pump or something for races in case this happens, so it won't happen again. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time. Oh, no, sorry. Also, I want to thank this very kind person who is my first supporter in the Buy Me a Coffee thing. So thank you very, very much. This is so nice. I kind of forgot that I had this until this message popped up. So thank you so much for the boost and love. Yeah, so if you want to support me, you can buy me a coffee. Thanks.